There is an invisible wall in our society. You can't see it, but you can feel it every single day. It separates the people who sleep soundly at night from the people who stare at the ceiling at 3 a.m., wondering if one bad event will ruin their lives. We are often told that the path to wealth is complicated. We're told we need to understand the stock market, crypto, real estate, or tax loopholes. But the truth is, the most difficult part of wealth building isn't making $1 million. It's not buying a rental property. It is crossing the gap from $0 to $10,000. My name is Alex, and on this channel, we talk about the psychology of money. Today, we aren't just talking about saving tips. We are going to deconstruct the most critical financial milestone of your life, the first $10,000. Why 10,000? Because this number is the escape velocity of personal finance. Below this number, gravity is pulling you down. Every car repair, every medical bill, every unexpected expense pushes you back to zero. But once you cross this line, physics starts to work for you instead of against you. In this video, I'm going to show you the neurological changes that happen when you hit this number, the mathematical explosion of compound interest that follows, and the exact, brutal roadmap to get there if you are currently broke. To understand why saving the first $10,000 is so hard, we have to look at the trap most people are living in. It's called the just enough trap. Statistics show that nearly 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. This doesn't mean they are poor. It means their lifestyle expands exactly to the edge of their income. You make $3,000 a month. You spend $3,000. You get a raise to $4,000. Suddenly, you need a better car, a better apartment, and organic groceries. Your spending rises to meet your income. This is known as Parkinson's Law. When you have zero savings, you are playing a game of Russian roulette with life. Let me paint a scenario. You are driving to work, and your transmission fails. The mechanic says it's $2,500 to fix. If you have $0 saved, this isn't just a repair bill. It's a crisis. You have to put it on a credit card at 25% interest. Now you have a monthly payment. That payment eats into your cash flow for next month. Because you have less cash next month, you can't buy groceries, so you put those on the card too. The hole gets deeper. This is the poverty cycle. Being broke is expensive. You pay late fees, overdraft fees, and high interest simply because you don't have access to capital. But here is the hard truth that nobody likes to admit. The system is designed to keep you here. Every advertisement, every social media post, every email in your inbox is engineered by teams of psychologists to make you part with your money today. Saving the first $10,000 requires you to rebel against the entire modern consumer culture. It requires you to say no when the world is screaming at you to say yes. Let's move away from the math for a second and talk about your brain. What actually happens biologically when you have $10,000 in the bank? When you are living on the edge, your brain is in a constant state of fight or flight. Your body produces cortisol, the stress hormone. When cortisol is high, your frontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for long-term planning and logic, literally shuts down. This is called cognitive tunneling. Have you ever made a really stupid financial decision because you were stressed? That wasn't an accident, that was biology. When you are broke, you are biologically programmed to seek immediate relief. You buy the expensive takeout coffee not because you're lazy, but because your brain is screaming for a dopamine hit to counter the stress. Now imagine you hit that $10,000 milestone. That money is sitting in a high-yield savings account. You don't touch it, but just knowing it is there lowers your baseline cortisol levels. The check engine light comes on. You're annoyed, but you don't panic. Your boss threatens to fire you. You don't freeze in terror. This is the freedom money effect. When you aren't terrified, your IQ effectively increases. You start negotiating better. You perform better at work. You sleep better. This is why the rich get richer, not just because of interest rates, but because they are operating with a clear mind, while the broke person is operating in a fog of survival. It creates a positive feedback loop. Less stress leads to better decisions. Better decisions lead to more money, and more money leads to even less stress. Now let's look at the math. Why is 10,000 the magic number? Why not 1,000? Why not 50,000? 10,000 is the point where compound interest starts to buy you lunch. Let me explain. If you have $100 invested in the S&P 500 and it goes up 10%, you made $10, that's nice, but it doesn't change your life. You can't even buy a movie ticket with that. But if you have $10,000 invested and it goes up 10%, You just made $1,000 without lifting a finger. That is a tangible amount of money. That covers a month of rent for some people. That's a round-trip flight to Europe. This is where the flywheel effect kicks in. Getting from 0 to 10,000 is like pushing a heavy stone wheel. It takes massive effort, sweat, and grind. You are pushing against friction. But once it starts rolling, the momentum takes over. Charlie Munger, the billionaire partner of Warren Buffett, famously said, "The first 100,000 is a bitch, but you gotta do it." In today's economy, the first step of that is the 10K mark. Once you have this capital, opportunities start to find you. Think about it. When you have cash, you can buy things in bulk to save money. You can pay for insurance annually to get a discount. You can buy assets when the market crashes. When the pandemic hit in 2020, people with cash bought stocks at a 40% discount. People without cash were selling their stuff just to survive. Money attracts money. But you need that initial seed of $10,000 to turn the magnet on. It also gives you the ability to take calculated risks. Maybe you want to start a business or move to a new city for a better job. You can't do that if you are living week to week. Savings provide the bridge to a better life. Okay, enough theory. If you are watching this and you have less than $1,000 to your name, how do you actually get to 10,000? It feels impossible, right? It's not. But it requires a temporary season of pain. I call this the monk mode protocol. You cannot save your first 10,000 by simply cutting back on lattes. The math doesn't work. You need structural changes. Step 1 is the audit. Print out your last 3 months of bank statements. Highlight every single thing that wasn't necessary for survival. You need to see exactly where your leak is. Most people are shocked when they do this. They realize they are spending hundreds of dollars on subscriptions they don't use, or food they don't even enjoy. Step 2 is capping the big three: housing, transportation, and food. These are the budget killers. If you are serious about this, you have to ask yourself hard questions. Can you move to a smaller apartment for 12 months? Can you sell the car with a $500 monthly payment and buy a cheaper used car? Can you stop eating out entirely? I know it sounds extreme, but remember, this is not forever. This is just until you hit the number. You are buying your freedom. Every $100 you save is a brick in the foundation of your fortress. Step 3 is the side hustle sprint. You can only cut expenses so much. Eventually, you hit zero. You have to increase the shovel. In the US gig economy, making an extra $1,000 a month is possible if you are willing to work evenings and weekends. Uber, DoorDash, freelance writing, editing, dog walking, whatever it takes. If you put 100% of that side income into savings, you hit $10,000 in 10 months. Most people fail because they try to save what is left over at the end of the month. And there is never anything left over. You have to pay your savings account like it's a threatening landlord. It gets paid first. Another crucial aspect is automation. Willpower is a finite resource. If you have to manually transfer money to your savings every month, eventually you will fail. You will have a bad week. You will see a pair of shoes you want, and you will skip a month. Don't rely on willpower. Set up an automatic transfer for the day your paycheck hits. Make it so the money disappears before you even see it. If you don't see it, you won't spend it. This forces you to adapt your lifestyle to the money that remains. Let's talk about the social cost. This is the part nobody mentions. Saving your first $10,000 might make you lonely. Your friends are going out for drinks on Friday night. You might have to say no. They are planning a group trip to Cabo. You might have to pass. People might call you cheap. They might say you are boring. This is the hardest part for many people. We are social creatures, and we want to fit in. But you have to ask yourself, do you want to fit in with people who are broke? Do you want to fit in with the 60% of Americans who can't afford a $1,000 emergency? Or do you want to be free? When you say no to a night out, you aren't depriving yourself. You are choosing your future self over your present self. You are choosing peace of mind over a hangover. It helps to find a community of like-minded people. Watch videos like this, read books on finance, listen to podcasts. Surround yourself digitally with people who are on the same mission. It makes the journey less lonely. When you finally see that comma in your bank account, $10,000, something shifts in your soul. You stop identifying as a broke person. You start identifying as an investor. You realize that you have discipline. You realize that you have control. The money is great, but the self-respect is better. You prove to yourself that you can delay gratification. And that is the skill that makes millionaires. The first $10,000 is the hardest money you will ever save. The second 10,000 will take you half the time. The third, even less. You have built the machine. Now you just have to let it run. As you approach this milestone, you will feel a temptation to spend it. This is the final boss battle. You will hit $8,000 and suddenly think, hey, I can afford a down payment on a new car. Do not do it. This money is not for spending. This money is your foundation. It is the concrete slab that you are going to build your skyscraper on. If you crack the foundation, the building falls. Once you hit 10,000, you move it to a separate account, and you pretend it doesn't exist. Then and only then do you start saving for the fun stuff. If you are on this journey, I want you to know, it is worth it. The peace of mind is worth every sacrifice. The ability to walk into your boss's office and not be afraid of losing your job is worth it. The ability to sleep through the night is worth it. Keep your eyes on the horizon. That $10,000 isn't just paper. It is your freedom papers. I want to hear from you. Are you on the path to your first 10K? Or have you already passed it? What was the biggest sacrifice you had to make? Let me know in the comments below. If this video gave you a new perspective, hit the like button to help the algorithm find other people who need to hear this. Don't forget to subscribe to Invests with Alex. We are building wealth, one milestone at a time. I'll see you in the next one.